Mark here at Natural Health. Hope you're having a great evening. Hey, we're going to go ahead and start our patient education workshop for this evening. The topic is foods that help to reduce inflammation in the body. So just as a quick little introduction again and review for myself, Dr. Mark Koschlag, been in chiropractic and nutrition for 37 years. We've been doing activator adjusting and nutritional testing using standard process nutrition for all those years. We've been in the Quincy area. We had an office in Payson for some time, but now we're just in Quincy. Raised 4 sons here. They were in football, so we went through a lot of different sports activities and injuries and things like that. So we have a lot of practice with those kind of things. So just enjoying that, and we're going to get into actually one of the techniques that I've learned that really helps to make practice come together with nutrition and chiropractic, and also to realize too that we also have now an emotional way of helping patients too, to remove some of those emotions that have been tying them up. So that's working out really well. Again, making kind of a little triangle of 3 phases of what we can do to help people get well, more of a holistic approach than ever before. But we'll start with our topic for the night, and looking at some foods that help with inflammation. And I pulled this off the internet to kind of get an idea of what you're seeing out there if you're looking for that kind of thing. And the first one they have on here is fermented foods. That should be the top list. That's really good. Just something like sauerkraut. You can ferment about 8 kind of vegetable, but the fermented foods are broken down. They have lots of good vitamins that are broken down, and so they're a really good thing to help inflammation. Now, the people, just to explain, kind of back up a minute, inflammation is something that is not really a bad word. The body has inflammation in it to help to heal itself or help itself to do whatever it has to do. So if you have lung inflammation from an infection, well, the body wants to try to get that to heal. So thanks a lot. Have a good evening. So what's that to heal? So they will use try to get those nutrients and things in there to heal that area up. The problem is that many people don't have the nutrients, that you're not getting them in the diet, so that the inflammation doesn't go away. So it just stays inflamed, whatever the problem is, whether it's arthritis, whether it's a lung problem, whether it's just whatever it is. And so that's why foods help, because they give the body nutrients that they need to get over it, to finish the building job that it's trying to do. So fermented foods have a lot of those in there. The next one they talk about here is broccoli. Everybody knows that broccoli is a health food. So it's got a lot of good vitamin C and calcium in there. And they talk about steaming your broccoli as well. So there's different schools of thought about that. I mean, man has eaten broccoli raw forever and ever, but some people tell you, well, you have to steam it or you won't digest it. And I don't know if I agree or disagree with either one of those, other than that, one of the big problems people have is just a lack of digestibility, period. Many people just can't digest things well, especially anything that has anything in it. So like if you have a heavy food like meats and things, people have a lot of problem with digesting those because it's their digestive tract that's the problem, not the food part. Another one is hemp oil, and that's got the big news is CBD oil. Hemp oil is just a little, I think, better formula. We carry a hemp oil product in the office, but helping inflammation on the endocannabinoid system, that's just only been known in the last 10, 12 years. Just more good information coming out there. And all the good oils are important for the omega-3s to help reduce inflammation. Now, again, the problem people get into is looking at, well, if some omega-3 is good, well, why would we take a whole lot of it? Well, the problem is you really want balance. Omega-6s are not a bad thing. They're helping the body to produce the inflammation so that the body can heal. And omega-3s are there to help heal and then help to slow that back down again. It's a cycle. It's a balance. And we don't need one more than the other. We need them in balance. So you just want to have varied food. But the oils, the good oils, coconut oil, olive oil, go butter, lard, tallow, those oils are good for you. And then hemp oil, again, is another one of those, as long as it's processed correctly. Again, another big problem, our thing in nutrition is you have to know where it comes from. You have to know what sources. You have to know how it's processed for it to be something the body can actually use as a food. Wild caught salmon, another good one. That's good for everything. Just in the good omega-3 fatty acids in there. Um, and other cold water ocean fishes, fish types are good. Seafood is good. Again, just knowing where they come from, how they're raised. Tart cherries, again, there's some good cherries. We're staying away from the sugars, even in fruits. The fructose can be inflammatory for some people. So, the tart cherries, again, a lot of vitamin C in there and other things good for that. Soaked walnuts. Most of your nuts are good, need to be soaked. Different minerals and different things in there. Again, soaking helps the digestion. That goes along with that. Vitamin E, talk about vitamin E and more omega-3s in the walnuts there too, and different nuts. Onions and garlic. The onions and garlic are really good for about everybody. Again, people can handle certain things better than others. There's just a lot of good minerals and things in there. You can use them to prepare eggs and greens. It talks about here. And garlic's long been a folk remedy for colds and illnesses. So it's just one of those things that's been good forever and ever. I'm going to skip this one and come back to this next one here in a minute. Spices, ginger, turmeric, really important for helping with inflammation. Again, by helping giving the body nutrients to help to overcome the inflammation, by helping the body heal up so it doesn't need the inflammation anymore. Turmeric, as in lots of the things we have at the office here, we even have a turmeric forte, which is just mostly turmeric with oils with it, so the body can absorb it. That's really important too. And then another one we use a lot, Boswellia complex, has turmeric in it to help with joint inflammation. We use for a lot of our chiropractic patients in helping them to get over the problems so that they can heal up. And even in this one, it talks about while processed foods may seem like the easier choice at first, they deplete your health over the long haul. So again, the processed foods, all the nutrition has been pulled out of them, and they just don't have the things that your body needs to heal itself up with. The other part of most of those kind of foods, processed foods, they have a lot of sugars available, even in grains and those kind of things that give the body energy to do things. Well, you're busy doing things, but you're tearing yourself up. Without having the nutrients your body needs, it can't repair itself. So I'm going to go back to this one here, spinach. Everybody knows that spinach is good for you with antioxidants and also contains vitamin E. So it wants you, of course, to steam your spinach for digestion purposes. But it also, even in this article, talks about that it contains oxalates. And even talk about researchers are looking at that as to the reason why some people have gut issues that are unresolved. And you're eating spinach. Well, you're eating spinach for the inflammation. So how can we have the spinach helping with inflammation, but then having oxalates and then having more problems? Well, that gets into the second part of our talk, and that's why we talk in the information there that we're looking at things that work for the individual person. Now, these things on the internet are just general things, but we're looking at things that have to do with the individual person, individualizing these diets and things and foods that people can have for their genetic makeup. And also, as I'm talking about this, if you have any questions, you can always put them in the comment section on Facebook there, and we can get back to those either during the presentation here or later. But we will have on the comment section, if not right now, but later, these two handouts on the foods, and then this one called defensive plant chemicals. So defensive plant chemicals are chemicals in plants that they use to protect themselves. So they don't want to be eaten. They don't have legs and things to get away. They can't run away from you as you're trying to eat them. But they have chemicals. Most all plants have some kind of chemical as a defensive mechanism to keep people or animals and things from eating them, even bugs and insects. So spinach is one of those that has oxalates in it. And the oxalates, let's see here, put that in this page. Oxalates, this group, it says grains, nuts, soy, spinach, chocolate, and black tea. The effect of this plant chemical is that it reduces calcium and magnesium absorption, causes kidney stones, and may play a role in autism. So the deal is there, what's best for you? it's confusing, some of this stuff. So that's why at our office here, we test patients for this to figure out what works for you. So the idea is that if you're trying some of these foods we talked about and they're working for you, great, and you feel better with them, great. But if you're eating some of them and you feel worse, well, look, there might be a reason for that. Either you're not digesting correctly or you're eating something that doesn't work for you. And you may have heard of the nightshade group. That's a fairly common problem for people. And the nightshade group has alkaloids as its problem, and that is the group that is dealing with potatoes, eggplants, tomatoes, potatoes are the major ones, and then kale, paprika, bell peppers, chili peppers, and cayenne peppers, and pimentos, other ones. So again, a lot of times we're just in the habit of having meat and potatoes every meal. Well, for one thing, the combination of those two is not good, and for digestion and other reasons for insulin and things. But then if you're having a nightshade problem and you're eating those foods and you're feeling worse, you think, I'm having tomatoes, I'm having all these good peppers, and that's supposed to be healthy, got good minerals in here, but I'm feeling worse. Why is that? Well, that's again some of the things we test for in the office. So the deal is you wouldn't want to take eat bell peppers and get, oh yeah, I'm just feeling worse, and then take a bunch of antacids and then think, well, I can keep eating them, I'll just take the antacids. Well, again, you're working against yourself to get well. And that's the thing we work at very hard in our office, is help our patients to work on just positive things, to have positive energies so your body can heal, strengthen, digest, absorb, be vital, be healthy, be happy. So it's not as simple as it seems sometimes. So that's some good information on the inflammation side of what we're talking about with foods. So now I'm going to run into our regular patient education workshop information, which goes along with this, and I'll kind of tie it together as we go through. We'll start with some of our handouts that if you come to one of our classes, you'll get some of these. But the first one here on myths and truths about nutrition, I like to read some of these, again, going into some of this information that's out there, but does it work for you? Does it actually work at all? So some of these are just things that are out there that are more marketing, and some of them are just out and out lies. So you have to be able to pick through that, and again, what works for you. So a couple of these I'll read through. The myth vegetarianism is healthy. Now again, we just talked about some of these vegetables and things that can help you to be healthier, but there's also some that aren't as good. So the myth is vegetarianism is healthy. The truth is the annual all-cause death rate of vegetarian men is slightly more than a non-vegetarian man, and the all-cause death rate and the annual death rate of vegetarian women is significantly more than that of non-vegetarian women. So the thing is if you're on the SAD diet, the Standard American Diet, and you're eating lots of junk and stuff, and you go to vegetarian, you're going to be a lot better. You're going to detox. Vegetarian diet is a really good detox diet. It cleans the body out. You're going to be a lot better, getting off of all that sugar and junk and processed salt, all the processed foods. You're really going to be an improvement. That'll be good for about 2 years until you start getting depleted in the essential fatty acids and essential amino acids you can only get from meats most of the time. You can do it vegetarian-wise, but it takes a lot of work to do that. So most people, when they are vegetarian or vegan, they have problems because they don't know how to do it correctly. And so you have to find these essential fatty acids. And essential just means that your body doesn't make them. You have to get them in the diet. So the essential fatty acids and the essential amino acids, the proteins and fats, so important to get from certain sources, wherever they are, but get them from certain sources or good sources. The next one here, the myth: to avoid heart disease, we should eat margarine instead of butter. Well, of course, the truth is margarine eaters have twice the rate of heart disease as butter eaters. And margarine, let's face it, is 2 chemical steps away from plastic. Never was meant to be put in your body. It's one of those things that shouldn't have been allowed, but the big cholesterol money-making machine, so we had to do that. So margarine's been out for a long time, but most people are starting to come back to butter. Butter is just a good food. And again, you have to look and see where it comes from, how it's processed, get the good forms of butter, much better for you. The last one here, beef causes colon cancer. The truth is Argentina, with higher beef consumption, has lower rates of colon cancer than U.S. Mormons, who have a lower rate of colon cancer than vegetarian Seventh-day Adventists. So again, just like that one, it's not really the meat that's the trouble, it's the digestion, it's the body's ability to digest. and why on all of our nutrition patients we check digestion to make sure that they are digesting correctly. It's important again, even for any foods. Now, the interesting thing with it, we touched on it here before, is that when you eat processed foods or any sugary foods, the body can absorb the sugar real easily. It has the enzymes to break that down and absorbs it really easy. But sometimes it can't digest the other things your body really needs. So again, you have the energy, you have that going on, but you don't have the ability to repair yourself. And people are eating sugars and things all the time without good nutrition. The other minerals and vitamins that need to be with it, that their bodies just age a lot faster. They start having more and more physical problems. Our health, what exactly is the problem? I'd like to read a couple of paragraphs here. We have drifted into this deplorable position of national malnutrition quite inadvertently. It is a result of scientific research with the objective of finding the best ways to create foods that are non-perishable, that can be made by mass production methods in central factories, and distributed so cheaply that they can solve local competition from the market. Then, after there develops a suspicion that these quote-unquote foods are inadequate to support life, modern advertising steps into propagandizing people into believing there is nothing wrong with them, that they are the products of scientific research and intended to produce a food that is the last or nutritive value, and the confused public is totally unable to arrive at any conclusion of fact and continues to blindly buy the rubbish that is killing them off years ahead of their time. This is written by Dr. Royal Lee, and Dr. Royal Lee was inventor of standard process nutrition, the whole food nutrition line that we use. A genius, engineer, and then became a dentist to help figure out why they had so many problems with dental cavities back in those days. This was written 90 years ago, so it's been a while. It's been going on. This is before a lot of the fast food chains that are out there now, donut places and hamburger joints and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot worse than it is now. And you can see this if you go on the Centers for Disease Control website and click on the search engine for chronic disease, you'll get a nice little website informational page that talks about, I think 4 out of 10 people have one. Well, you can look at it, but it's talking about degenerative diseases and how that has increased over time, and it gives the reason that most of them are all nutritional problems that cause these degenerative diseases, and it just keeps going up and up and up. Heart problems, diabetes, cancer, all those things are going up. So, and they continue to go up despite how much money we throw at them with health insurance and care. So, more information there. Good, so we're going to start going through our high-tech presentation boards here. We joke about that because does this make sense? It's meant to be simple. So this triangle is a microcosm of the human body, and it has on the 3 corners of the equilateral triangle nutritional deficiency, the organ dysfunction, and then disease. And we're talking about degenerative disease here again, chronic degenerative disease. And so the more nutritional deficiency you have, from the factors we talked about, the more organ dysfunction you have, the more disease processes you have. So this becomes a big negative spiral. And of course, by degenerative diseases, we're talking about all the major ones. If you have a degeneration of the cardiovascular system, that's cardiovascular disease. Sugar handling problems, that's diabetes. Immune system problems, that's cancer. All the big ones, any disease basically you can think of is a chronic disease in some form. So we're here to try to work on this nutritional deficiency corner and reverse this, try to get this going the other way. So I'm going to change this out, and this works the same way with this on it. If we put, this of course is refined sugar, which we never really meant to have refined sugar. But anyway, the more sugar you eat, the more nutritional deficiency you have, the more organ dysfunction you have, the more you crave the sugar, because sugar in nature, in fruits and things, even in vegetables, has the minerals with it. The body's craving the minerals. So the more you crave that, the more nutritional deficiency you have, and the big spiral gets worse, and people just get worse and worse and worse. So we want to stop this. We want to reverse this, and we're going to do this by working on the nutritional deficiency part of the triangle here. So we'll go to the next one here. Good. So if you come, we'll have a little handout too on the 146 reasons why sugar is ruining your health. You can get this online. Nancy Appleton, PhD, is where you can get this, and it's just she has a book that explains it. But once again, this just lists all the degenerative diseases that we have, and that's where that comes from. Sugar's many disguises. There's the problem that we have in modern advertising. I think the count right now is 61 different names for sugar. And if you go into the store, look on the cartons and the boxes, which you really should not buy processed food at all. But if you do shop on the inside of the grocery store where all this processed stuff is at, you'll see all kind of names for sugars. And they're still all processed sugar. So like agave nectar, I mean, that sounds like some kind of great stuff. It's just refined sugar. Dextrose, refined sugar. Glucose, refined sugar. Malt syrup, refined sugar. And of course, the worst one, high fructose corn syrup. The fructose is one of the worst types of sugar for us. So it's important to realize that the manufacturers know how to use this against us. They try very hard to get us to buy their product. They know how that triangle works. They know that if they can get us hooked on sugars, they'll be back to buy more. If you'll come back to that food, they'll sell more and more to you. And of course, what's going on with the weight in this country? What's going on with the obesity rate? Up, up, up. And that goes right along with diabetes and all that, and heart disease and cancer. It's just all tied together, really. The three tastes for health, looking at the three tastes the human body has. The body has a taste for sugar, salt, and fats. And again, it's in our nature to survive famines. If we can get sugar, salt, and fats, we'll survive famines. Now, sugar is not the best source of energy to burn. Fats are, but you could buy in a famine just by getting those things. So again, the manufacturers know how to use that against us. So if you have a good food, but it's got too much quote unquote fat, then they want to take the fat out, so they have to add a lot more sugar and salt, so you'll buy it. That's the problem. It doesn't taste good without the fats in there. They use that against us, of course. And if you go on YouTube, you can go on, search for "Is Sugar Toxic?" It's a 60 Minutes article, and it's written, Dr. Robert Lustig is the guy that they were interviewing in that article, and he has a very good YouTube channel that explains more about sugar, gives the very intensive the biochemical details. He's an MD, and he actually teaches it at medical doctors' colleges, tries to get them involved with this. He's got a big program. He's trying to get this in the medical system, but it's tough. It's working against the whole system there. So, but that's more good information there. I would be remiss to tell you all this information without giving you an idea of how you can help yourself with this, or how we can help you to handle all these problems. That's what our nutrition response testing technique is about. Nutrition response testing is just a way to, in real time, quickly check the body to find out what nutritional needs the body has to get to optimum health, to get to a vital health. Not just pain relief, but to actually get the body healthy and being vital and being at optimum. So what I'll do is have a little demonstration here of how nutrition response testing works. And so I'm going to have my son, Dr. Chip, come over. We're going to use him to tell us about this.
Hello.
So we're going to start by checking. We use an arm strength test for this. So we'll start by checking the arm, and the arm is normally strong. Relax the arm. So we've done this again for many years. I went through the blood work, the blood testing, the hair analysis, salivary testing, urine analysis, and those things are great for certain things, but they really don't give a good idea of what nutritional needs a person has. So we found that the muscle testing is just a real sensitive way. It's a great way of figuring out, and we can test this very easily without drawing blood and all kind of lab tests, and that's so much cheaper than going through all those lab tests and things. It's saving thousands and thousands of dollars. So what we'll do is go ahead, and again, the arm is strong. So the ideal here is that this works on the principle of hypothermia. So hypothermia dictates that if you're headed out to go ice skating in the winter and you're skating on the lake and you fall in, you get back out, well, to get back to the warmth of the home or whatever, the body will sacrifice the fingers and toes, the appendages, to keep the core alive. So that's what hypothermia is about. It wants to keep the core alive. So the ideal here is, so for instance, I'm checking the arm is strong, and I irritate the area around the heart. The body will pull, and the heart has a weakness of some sort, and I put that on there, the arm will go unlock, it will go weak. The body will pull the energy out of the appendage, out of the shoulder, out of the arm, and allow the arm to go weak to protect the heart. Then, if I know of a nutrition from Standard Process or any place that works, that we can use to strengthen the heart. The energy of that nutrition, if I put that on the body and then irritate that heart again, the arm stays strong. We know that nutrition will help that problem. It's real simple. It's not voodoo or magic or anything. It's just a matter of using these energies and asking the body questions based on the arm strength test. It's a very easy, simple way to figure out what that individual person needs. Very good. Thanks, Paul. Great. So so we have handouts here on testimonials of patients. We've had a lot of patients over the years, hundreds and thousands of patients. So we have some stories from them. They're actually kind of entertaining to come through. We have a handout too that if you come to one of our classes or just stop by the office, we will, it talks more about nutrition response testing there. In this too, I have a couple blood tests that this one talks about splenomegaly, a patient we had that had splenomegaly where the spleen was enlarged, and we put them on nutrition, worked on the diet, and then the spleen got better, which the medics didn't understand at all. Normally we would just take it out, but no, we got that better. So that was a great lab test. And then this lab test that's redacted has vitamin D levels and how we increase the vitamin D levels without even giving the patient vitamin D. Basically, we're just getting them to digest correctly and to understand that the vitamin D they check for, vitamin D3, is just one of the vitamin Ds. There's others, and if you take it in a synthetic form, it's not really helping the health of the body. It may increase the D on the blood test, but it doesn't mean that it's increasing the health of the body. So just to be aware of that. Also, the hemoglobin A1C, the sugar, amount of sugar in the bloodstream over time, over 3 months, has went down from 8.0 to 6.6, went down under 5.7. We're on the right way. And again, no medication is there, just try to get them onto a good diet. Good. So if you come into if you come to one of our classes, or if you come into the office and use the word cloverleaf, because we have the 4-leaf clover as kind of our symbol, so I'll use the word cloverleaf, we'll get you a patient education workshop screening form. You can come in for a free screening to see if you're a nutrition patient, because if you are a nutrition patient, there's not much that anybody can do for you other than give you nutrition, get nutrition for the thing. But if you're not a nutrition patient, and we can tell you that, there's not much we can do for you. So we want to try to figure that out first to find out if you are a nutrition patient or not. But most people are, because most people have this problem with the SAD diet, the Standard American Diet, and they need nutritional support. So we keep that in mind, but use the word cloverleaf. Also, again, if you have any questions, put them on the comment sections there, or give us a call at the office here. When we go through our testing then, we're designing a clinical nutrition approach just for that patient. We're not giving you, multiple vitamins and a whole bunch of this, a whole bunch of that. Let's try that. Let's try this. We're giving you designing a clinical nutrition program. Now, design again means it's very individual, just for you. Clinical means that we don't care what it is as long as it works. Patients bring in sometimes grocery bags full of vitamins that they get from other places, and sometimes some of them work, sometimes they don't. Most of the times they don't. That's why they come in. If they were working, and then they'd be fine. But most of the times they don't. So, but we can use whatever works. And then nutrition. We're using whole food nutrition here. Now, that's a different word than vitamins. People go to like Walmart and buy, vitamin D. Well, again, most of those are synthetic forms. They're not foods. They're not the way the body's meant to have them. The body won't absorb them correctly. So we're using actually whole foods with these nutritions or vitamins in them, or minerals, and whatever we're looking for in the food. So the body absorbs all of that, plus the cofactors, coenzymes, cominerals that are needed to absorb and digest and utilize those things. People get under the wrong impression that whatever you stick in your mouth, it just goes wherever it's supposed to go. Well, that works for pharmaceutical drugs because they supersede or overrun the autonomic nervous system, but it doesn't work for food. Food has to be digested, broken down, and then absorbed correctly. And many people have gut issues because they eat 3 meals a day, which are bad, and then it inflames the gut. So we work on fixing all that. As some more of our handouts, we have some books if you're interested in other reading. We can get you different books for that. There's lots of websites there. The westonprice.org website is one of the best ones. to find out more information on organic eating, organic growing. But we have all kind of other ones here, other informational things to look at. There's a video list that we have. And I'll try to see if you can get that one. This one is something you can maybe look at. These are all on YouTube or Netflix. There's the Pottinger's cat studies, genetic study on nutrition. There is Hungry for Change, Food Matters. Super Size Me is kind of one of the hamburger joints. Mercury Undercover is about the mercury in teeth and fillings that cause all kind of trouble. Most everyone that comes in here has mercury poisoning of some sort. Sugar coated, all kind of good movies to understand why this is working this way. The new childhood in America, again, the kids are overweight, the learning disabilities are up, asthma is up, ADHD is up, food allergies are all up, seizures are up, and of course autism. One of the things that's skyrocketing, and again, that's a whole different education workshop, but there are reasons why that's happening, and diet is at least one of those reasons. So again, things to look at there. So just on our last high-tech presentation board here, so when patients come into the office, they usually have a list of symptoms that are bothering them, their major complaints. So we look at those complaints, we watch those complaints and ask them how they're improving over time. But our goal is really overall health. And we've found that these symptoms, which are normally the last to show up but the first to leave when we treat, are like the red light on the dashboard of your car. And they're blinking, blinking, blinking. And so they're telling you something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong. But you better figure it out or the motor's going to blow. And that's the problem with a lot of our symptoms that we have out there. The patients will take medications and stop the symptom, but that's not finding out the cause. And eventually they'll have some other big problem, like a heart attack or cancer or something like that. It becomes a bigger problem if you don't fix it. Taking medications to cover it up doesn't help the underlying cause. And that's what we do here, is figure out underlying causes. Now, and not to say that medication is not important for certain things, but it's just that it's not nutrition, it's not a food, it's not meant to repair the body, it's meant to handle a certain condition. So we want to try to figure out the causes. Also, since we're using whole foods, they're just food. They're safe and natural. They're just things the body's meant to have had. The thing, there's just no side effects to what we do. The worst thing that can happen with the nutritional stuff we do is that nothing happens. That's the worst thing, but that never happens. So we just get bodies well all the time. And again, compared to medications, well, there's definitely a line of side effects there. Again, because they're superseding the autonomic nervous system. They're working against the body in a certain way to stop a certain problem. But they, again, have a purpose, but not for long term. They're not meant for long term. So we have a handout here that looks at the spine because we're chiropractic based, and that's important because as chiropractors we look at things more as a holistic approach. We're not influenced by the AMA and some of those things. We can think freely, and we realize that the spine is important. The nervous system that controls the whole body helps to heal the whole body. The energy comes from above down, inside out. So we want this energy to heal the body. Now, if your body is just in such bad shape, you don't have any energy, well, it's hard to heal. It's hard to have motivated. It's hard to have good thoughts. It's hard to have good emotions if your body's in a lot of problems and low energy. So it's so important that the spine is lined up too. And this one also has, when the nerves are irritated, what organs are involved, and then what nutritions go along with that to help heal those areas. Our diet recommendations, there's a couple great books I'll just mention real quick. Protein Power, written by doctors Mary and Danny Eads. They were heart specialists. You can get that book. It's a real good book that kind of goes over some of our things. And there's a whole list of other ones, Life Without Bread, the Sports Bean Principle, The Zone, Dr. Atkins' work. All those are all the same thing. They've been around for a long time, but people just don't see them as much. And of course, the normal mainstream medical approach does not look at that way. And they're busy with what they're doing, the medications. They got lots to do. They don't have time to look at that kind of stuff. That's what we do. We're into that. So our main rule is, again, getting off the sugars and flours, the refined flour and sugar, working on getting off of those things. And that's easier said than done. I mean, I've had patients come in and the doctor says, oh, yeah, I just got to get off of sugar. Well, Yeah, that's what they say, and that's true, but it's easier said than done. Drugs are sugar is a drug. It actually is as addictive as cocaine, or even more addictive than cocaine. So it's not really something that's really meant to be in there. It's something the body gets addicted to. And again, the manufacturers know how to use that. We want to keep our foods, our proteins and fats away from starches and carbs. It's kind of the general rule of eating. That helps with digestion a lot and keeps your insulin levels down, which helps your cardiovascular system. A lot of things we do in here to help that purpose as well. And actually, on a side note here, we just got in our heart sound recorder today, which is a special test we use to help the heart and figure out the sounds of the heart and what's going on with the heart itself. So we'll have more information about that later in later presentations. And then our general eating plan is to have proteins in the morning, salads for lunch, and a protein and vegetable for evening. That's kind of our basic diet plan. It's real simple. We don't measure cups and grams and things like that. We just know how to help the body to work like it's supposed to. I mean, the cavemen, our ancestors, they didn't measure things out. They just ate what they needed to eat. And so that's kind of what we're looking at, is what you need to be healthy. In this last sentence here, I like to read because it kind of gives us an idea quickly of genetics and how that genetics are not really as important as we've been led to believe. But many of our eating habits have been trained to us for generations. For example, Grandma was a good baker. Mom is a great baker. So every Christmas we eat 10 pounds of fudge, somehow catch the flu in January, and have a history of diabetes and heart disease in our family. So a lot of times people, if you look back into what they've eaten, the problems that family have are due more to the diet and lifestyle. And that's what the science of epigenetics is all about, where epigenetics is looking at what causes the genes. So the genes, there's another author, well, actually he's a cellular biologist, PhD level, Bruce Lipton, has some great YouTube videos on there. And he talks about how the genes are just basically a blueprint that's stored in the nucleus of the cell, and it's just there. So if you need more proteins, it makes more of those. So the idea there is it's the cell and how the body interprets its environment. That's how the body reacts to things. And so the genes are just there as a blueprint. Now, so there, if you don't turn on the cells that give cancer or whatever, that's because your environment is correct. So it's not the gene that does it though by itself. The genes don't replicate by themselves. They have to have help and things. So that's the deal where if you're eating a good diet and your body's healthy, you don't have these degenerative problems. But if you're eating lots of stuff you shouldn't have, even though it tastes good, because let's face it, fudge tastes good, it does. But if you eat a lot of that, that's very hard on the immune system. So we used to have an experiment where you took a diet or a can of Coca-Cola and a Twinkie, and if you ate all the sugar, if you ate those things, the sugar in there would deplete the minerals from your immune system, and you could catch a cold just like that. The bugs can get in there real easy. So your energy has to be up, everything has to be up for to keep away from all these infections and stuff like that. So anyway, that should give you some good information there. We're always happy to answer questions. Again, if you have any questions, you can always put that in the comment section. We'll get back to you on that. This presentation will also be on Instagram, and it will be on YouTube too. I have a YouTube channel, Natural Quincy YouTube channel, and we'll put that on there so you can watch this again later. Again, make sure and like us there, give us a thumbs up. You can subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and again, have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, I think we've had a great night. We'll have more topics coming up, and we'll talk more about the heart sound recorder. That's a very exciting thing because it just really gives people a quick insight. It only takes 2 minutes to do, and it's none of the arm pulling. It has to do with a special little device that's been around for years and years. So anyway, have a great evening. We'll see you next time, and we just want you to be healthy. Thanks.